Okay everybody, yesterday before I left I did some epoxy priming. Got a few pieces done that we needed and we're setting up the brakes here. And where the shoes are going to run, a very light coating of grease right here. I think you can pick that up in the camera. Just a tiny little bit, you don't want to get it on the shoes. And a little bit on this guy, right in here and here. And a little bit on the pivot there. And we're going to set that on there. And these, you got a right and a left thread here, so you could turn them both the same way when you're adjusting your shoes out. I pulled those out, just a very light coating of oil on those, on a fine thread like that. And in this application, I like just a light dab of oil instead of anti-seize or something like that. There's a place for anti-seize, but a lot of places I don't like it. And then your shoes, you kind of put the long edge against there, and it can slide nice on that tiny little bit of grease we put there. The other one goes right there. Your curved spring goes on the top here, and we'll get that in. And the special end goes in this hole, so it's clearer when this is actually getting pulled by your lever. There's no spring sticking through there to hang it up. So that one goes in there. And I also got the drum primed up yesterday, and when I cleaned it up sandblasting, there were some real rusty areas in there. We're going to throw that on a brake lathe and true it up so that we get a nice even seating of the shoes. So we'll get set up in a brake lathe. I'll move the camera over there to the to that area, and I'll show you how we turn this drum. Okay, we're going to get that emergency brake drum mounted up on the brake lathe here. And first thing, we're going to start with this adapter here. And then we'll put the drum on, followed by this guy. And that'll square it up nice. And we've got to get a couple adapters to take up some space. Let me see if I can get around here. Okay, and we'll just get that tightened down. Alright, and then around that we're going to place this anti-vibration band. That just keeps the harmonics down when it's cutting. Well, it's kind of a long one. I could have grabbed a shorter one, but it'll work. Get a little bit tighter. Yeah, I don't like that wrap. Let's get it a little bit tighter. Alright, and it's kind of tight in here with the camera set up, but we're going to run this in. And I think you can see the cutter on there. I'm not going to be able to get inside there, I don't think, and show you, but okay, we'll get that set up and we'll start to make a cut. Okay, we're taking a light cut in there just to make the first pass. We're taking a nice and slow, and it seems like it's pretty true, but we're getting a little run out there, so we'll take this pass and then set another light pass, and it should clean up in 2 passes. So I'll show you the finished project when it's done. Okay, here's our final pass, and you can hear the difference when it's cutting all the way around. The nice cut without an interrupted sound. So that's about 14 thousandths we had to take to true it up and make it perfectly round. And our emergency brake shoes will work perfect on that. So I'll get this cut finished up. We'll take it back to the bench, and we'll measure it up and check out what kind of finish we got on it. Okay, here's our finished drum turned, and you see we've got a real nice finish on that. And we took a light cut, went very slow speed on that, and we've got a perfect surface for our emergency brake shoes. And that's how you ensure that they work good. You give them a nice surface to bite into. And we'll take a quick measurement using our drum gauge here. It was a little under 8 inches when we started. And I don't know if you can see that. There's a lot of glare on it. Let me try and get you in there, focus you in there. We're right at 8 inches 10 thousandths. So we took 14 thousandths in cuts, and it was a little under 8 inches when we started, so plenty of life left in there, very serviceable, and it came out nice, and we'll get that on a transfer case next. Okay, here's our backing plate, springs, and shoes on the transfer case, and it's pretty straightforward. Just bolt that on. Just be careful because you got 2 different size bolts here. These 2 here that hold this bracket on are longer. Make sure you don't swap those for the other side, or you're going to hit your shift fork. And if you've got an early transfer case, early 2As, and well, a lot of 2As and even some 3As, these bolts were drilled for safety wire. And if they are, safety wire them again. And then as the bolt quality started getting a little better, they got rid of the safety wire. And by the time this 3A was built, just washers. Now those bolts go directly into the case, so we put some sealant on the threads, and that'll keep the oil from leaking onto the shoes. And here we have our drum. Got some grease on the felt. I've got some grease on the yoke. We're going to get that slipped on there. We're going to tighten that down 120 foot-pounds like we did the front. And we've got this in 4 low right now, and when we go to tighten that, we'll put the bar that we used last time. We'll hook that to the front yoke, and because it's connected through, we can torque this, and we won't be chasing the case around the bench here. So that's coming next, and we're just about wrapping this thing up. Okay, I'll get some things done and come back and show you what I did. Okay guys, you can see I've got that front yoke positioned with our bar, and we're going to tighten up this back here. I think you can see that okay. And we put this on. You want to make sure your brake shoes aren't hanging up at all. And we get this set to 120 foot-pounds. that block of aluminum out of there. Okay, there's our first click. Let's just make sure we got it. Okay. Now we've got to tighten it until we get that cotter pin hole lined up. And I gotta see where it is. I don't know if we're there or not. Let me check. Okay, we're just missing it. I've got to tighten that quite a bit more. So let me get that tightened, and then we'll show you some adjustments, and we'll get the cotter pin in there. Okay, it was a bear getting that extra little bit of torque out of it, but I got it. Got a cotter pin in there, and we got our brakes. You could hear a light tick in there, and emergency brake is right there. It's just a short throw. If you have to adjust your brakes, you just turn it to one of these slots, and you've got your little star wheels in there, right in here. And you get in there with a screwdriver, a little brake adjusting spoon, and just knock those out. And just make sure it's not too tight. It should spin freely, and you just might hear a light drag, just a little tick, and you know you got it right, and you'll have a very short throw on your lever here. So that just about finishes this up. I'll put the cover on next, and then the T-90's coming. We got to get that done, and we'll get the two of these bolted together, and then we'll get going on the overdrive like I was talking about yesterday. So I think that's about it for information on a transfer case. Like I say, we'll get the cover on, and I'll pull that T-90 out, and we'll get started on that next. Okay, be back with you in a minute. Okay guys, I was going to start that T-90 today, but when I took the new old stock parts out of their boxes, they had quite a layer of preservative on them, kind of like a cosmoline thick coating on them. And the day kind of got away from me. By the time I got done cleaning them up, they got away from me. But the case is epoxy primed and ready to go, and super clean inside. There's our new old stock parts that we got. I cleaned up the original cluster gear right around where first gear is there. I think you can see that okay. I just took a stone to that, polished that up a little bit, so we get a nice smooth engagement with our first gear. And first gear looks dirty there, but it's brand new. I couldn't get it any cleaner than that. And the rest of our parts we'll pick right off our stand. Remember that stand from when I took it apart? So we'll just pick the parts as we need them from there, and use these new old stock parts that we have here, and we'll put together a very nice T-90. So didn't get to it today, but that'll be the subject of tomorrow. So stay tuned, and I'll get another video up on the T-90 hopefully tomorrow if everything goes good. I think we have everything here now, so should be tomorrow, or maybe over the weekend or something if I get screwed up tomorrow. But things are coming along. Transfer case is finished, so we're on to the T-90 and then the overdrive. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.